You're listening to Keith Engle, the host of TGI Sports Talk on the National Streaming Sports Roku channel.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
I'm muted. Take two. Good evening, everybody. Keith Engle for TGI Sports Talk's College Football Huddle. We welcome everybody watching tonight on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. I think Roku. I'm not seeing it come up. Let me see if I got to change this thing again. Hold on. I'm on the live streams. I don't see myself. We were just coming off the National Streaming Sports Show, so we got started a little late. I may not have the right key up for Roku yet. I'll have to play around with this, but I don't see myself live yet. So we're trying to get our Roku feedback. So meanwhile, you can watch us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And we'll try to replay this show at midnight tonight on Roku if you don't get it live. If somebody's watching on Roku, please pop on and tell us you're here. I want to welcome again all the groups that allow me to share and thank them. John Gonzalez from the Sports Authorities, Flo and the gang from Bottom Line Sports, Let's Talk Sports, do a great job there. Ken Krause at Sports of All Sorts, Golf Bud Sports of All Sorts. I don't see myself coming on a Roku, so I still don't know what's going on here, guys. They gave us a new key to use, and maybe it's not. It says I'm live, though. I don't understand. I'm going to remove it and try again. So bear with me while we do some technical stuff again here. I'll put this back in here. And we're going to save the changes and see what happens. I don't know. Roku, we miss you, but, you got to be here to comment anyway. So we don't have anybody coming in. No comments yet. Ralph Williams at RW Media. We give him a quick shout out every week. Ralph does some great stuff. He'll be returning with the Sports Corner from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday night. He does that with Smokin' Jim Frazier. Been on that show many times with Ralph and Smokin' Jim, and always enjoy myself. And I believe Ralph's moving, so we wish him well in his move. Does look like we're live on Facebook, so that's a good thing. And we'll get the show going. We're getting into the off season. We got the draft coming up tomorrow. I want to talk more about the Nico leaving Tennessee thing, and now his brother going to join him from UCLA after committing to Arkansas, after never going on campus even once. Your father's a great. He's just a great role model, and isn't he? Jesus Christ. Joey Aguilar, who had transferred from Appalachian State to UCLA, will now be going to Tennessee. Now, some people call this a trade, by the way. Now we have trades in NCAA football. It's not a trade. It's certainly not a trade per se. I mean, I'm trying to see because I commented on somebody's comment about this. It's not a trade. It just happened. Circumstances took Aguilar to Tennessee. They need a quarterback, and there aren't that many in the portal this spring. So what are you going to do? We could talk about whether Josh Heupel is going to get a pass for this. I mean, he's being lauded by myself as well for taking a stand and not renegotiating Nico's money. But maybe Josh Heupel knows he's not going to win with Nico, and he wants to buy himself some time when Tennessee has what might be a mediocre season for them. We'll look at their as we go into this summer months. once we come back from hiatus, we start looking at teams and predicting some records, and we can go from there. Lee Corso stepping down from game day after 40 years. Been a staple. Jesus, I'm 65 years old. I've been watching Lee Corso on TV doing game day since I was 25 years old. That's amazing to me. He and Kirk Herbstreit make that show go. It's a good panel all the way around right now, but they make it go. And Coach Corso is going to do one more show. My guess it will be Texas and Ohio State opening day, opening week of the college football season, and he will say his goodbyes. Should be a very emotional time, I'm sure. Mike Patrick, former very good play-by-play announcer for ESPN, did a lot of college football, a lot of college basketball, especially in the ACC for ESPN. Also did Sunday Night Football for many years with Paul McGuire and Joe Theismann. Mike Patrick passed away this past week or last few days. Our thoughts and prayers go out to him. Fine professional broadcaster, and we miss him. We'll talk about the NFL draft. How far will Shedeur fall? I still say 21, guys. I still say 21. And I think with Shedeur, there's something going on. I do see a couple people and a couple comments, and I'll get to them in just a second. We talked about it on the National Streaming Sports Show. I think maybe we're coming on live now. I don't know whether it's just a commercial or it's my show. I have no idea. We're not. I have no idea what's going on with Roku. I gotta get some technical advice. Shedeur, two things. There was talk about a smear campaign against Shedeur Sanders, and there was a quote that came out today from a unnamed NFL executive who said, point blank, worst interview he'd ever seen by a professional athlete. So is there a smear campaign against the Sanders and Shedeur? Yeah, I think there is. But I also think he's not first round draft material. Both things can be true. It's a little like OJ, the cops framing a guilty man. I mean, I've said for years that there's no doubt in my mind OJ committed those murders. There's also no doubt in my mind that the LA cops framed him. They framed a guilty man. Yes, it's absolutely true. Both things can be true. Both things can be true here, and I think they are. And I do think Shedeur Sanders falls to number 21 in the Pittsburgh Steelers. Unless somebody gets stupid. Maybe there's misinformation getting put out. Maybe it's the Giants, right? I said this on the show. Just take the Giants as an example. I'm not saying they did this or anything like that. But if they wanted Shedeur Sanders and they took him at 3, they would be chastised in New York, especially after their experiences with Daniel Jones a few years back and that not working out. They'd get killed. So they put out a release like this or other misinformation, or could be accurate information if you want, just knocking his talent. With the idea that they get him to fall in the draft and they can trade back into the late first round or maybe even early in the second round and they get him. Stranger things have happened. Who's with us? Rick Sherlock's with us. Time for the jingle. We'll give that to you in a second. Sanders 21 to the Steelers. Rick's on board with me. I've been saying it for a month, right? All right, so I think, now Sanders is going to slide. Well, Sanders has been sliding if you haven't been paying attention. And the Steelers should sit tight. I know John Gonzalez thinks they're going to take him at 7. Some other people think he's going to get taken at 9 by the Saints. He's not getting taken by any of those teams. Don't trade up if you're a Steeler fan and you want him. And maybe he'll be a player. I don't know. I do think he'll get killed. Rick mentioned it before. He doesn't have a good offensive line. He's going to get killed. But we'll talk more about it. Rick wants to hear the jingle, so let's give the jingle real quick. We'll do it again, and maybe we'll play it again later. We haven't played it in a while.
Keith Engle, the guy with the sports talk show. On the internet, he's the guy that we all know. If you love your sports, he's a guy for you. He has lots of shows on Roku. Keith Engle with the TGI Sports Talk Show.
Oh, geez, that shouldn't go with that, I don't suppose. Thank you, Mac, for that. We hope you're feeling well. Linda, if you're watching, please pass on our best to Mac. I'm not on Roku. Linda, I know Sonia shared the new key. It says I'm live. I have yet to be on since, I don't know, a couple of weeks. So I apologize for my shows not hitting Roku. Hopefully when you guys get back, we can straighten this out. And for the meantime, we won't be on Roku. Anyway, Michael Gott from the UK. How are you, my friend? He mentions Mike Patrick. I mentioned my favorite NFL moment is a Music City Miracle, which I believe Mike Patrick in ESPN had broadcast that Saturday afternoon wild card game. That was a great moment. And certainly, I'm sure a great moment for Mike Patrick. I wish I could find one of the great. I gotta see if I can find this. There's a great moment with Mike Patrick doing. He's working with, who's he working with? I think he's doing a Georgia-Alabama game. Oh, let's see if I can do this. Hold on. Bear with me a second, guys. He's doing a Georgia-Alabama game, I want to say. And he just starts talking about Britney Spears. If I can find this, we'll play it. He catches Todd Blackledge like totally by surprise. I don't know if I can find it. Here it is. Oh, hang on. I don't want to play yet. I got to stop it. Hold on. All right, I think we got it. So bear with me 1 second. I got to get out of. Don't play. It looks like LSU. LSU in Georgia. Let's watch this. Let me see if I can get it. Hold on. Bear with me, guys. Oh, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. I promise you it will be worth the wait. I hope. This is what happens when we get to no football, right? Oh, my God. Here we go. Share. All right. Let me see if I can blow this thing up. Okay. Hold on. Get this out of here. All right. That isn't it. That isn't even it. Damn it. Damn. I can't find a clip. Anywhere out of nowhere, he just starts talking about Britney Spears and what's Britney up to these days. And Todd Blackledge. I think that might be a joke about that comment. Maybe it's been taken down. I don't know. But it's a great Mike Patrick moment. We wish his family all our thoughts and prayers. And Mike had a great career. We'll miss him. And as we'll miss Lee Corso. Lee Corso has been a part of the fabric of college sports for decades. Not just 40 years on ESPN, but 15 or 20 years as a coach before that. At Indiana, at Louisville. Played at Florida State with Burt Reynolds. I'm going to miss Coach Corso. I cannot believe I've been watching him on game day since I was 25 years old. Amazing to me. Let's get into some talk about football, though, guys. Michael, good to have you with us. What are your thoughts on the draft, Michael? Who do you follow? Are you a Chiefs fan? I don't remember, Michael. Help me out. Chiefs fan. Thoughts on Shedeur Sanders? I think he goes 21. Rick agreed with me. Think he falls down. A lot of talk about the Bears. I know, again, we're talking NFL, but this is college related. And this is the most NFL talk you'll get on the college football huddle because we're talking NFL draft. A lot of talk about the Bears and the Broncos maybe trying to trade up to get Giante, but you'd have to trade to 5 to get him because the Raiders are going to take him at 6. I thought I'd heard or seen a report that the Bears had officially traded up and they had not. I think it was a mock draft I was reading that predicted a trade in that spot. I got confused because I'm old. If I'm the Broncos, Hampton's the second best running back in this draft. Probably not going in the top 15, may not go in the top 20. If I'm the Broncos, I might be able to sit and wait. Unless you think the Bears at 10 are going to take him. I think the Bears are at 10. I think he may end up being, he's a little bit bigger. He's 6'1". Jonte says he's 5'9". He might be 5'8". Doesn't mean he can't play in this league. Smaller guys than him have played and done well. Barry Sanders did quite well. I like Hampton better. If I'm drafting a running back, I'm not going to pay first top 5 pick money for Jonte. And there's still devaluation of running backs in this league. We haven't seen 2 go in the first round in quite some time that I can remember. Maybe I'm wrong. But I'm quite interested to see what happens. I've said this for weeks now. This is not a terribly there's no great elite talent other than Hunter and Carter in my mind as we see it today. That doesn't mean Ward won't go on and become a fine player, maybe a great player. I don't know. Standout must pick talent. Carter and Hunter are the only guys that stand out, but there's a lot of intrigue because of team needs, where they're in the draft. Intriguing players like Shedeur and Sanders, what will happen with them? Running back intrigue. Ty Warren has become an intriguing player in this draft. Could go as high as 7 to the Jets. I did a mock draft the other day where I took him 4 as the Patriots, and then I tried to trade. I traded like nearly my whole draft next year to get like 5 picks in the first 2 rounds. Didn't work out. But I think the Patriots may take a look at Arroyo from Miami. Probably going to have to get him with a second pick if they don't trade up out of the 3rd round and get maybe another 2nd round pick. I think they need a lot of bodies in New England. I don't think they can afford to be moving up and down the board unless they're trading back and acquiring picks. I think they're going to need all the bodies they can get out of this draft. But I do think taking Arroyo at 2 would be a shot, and you can find somebody like Isaiah Bond. You need a wide receiver. That's why I like Warren, because Warren, almost gives you another wide receiver. He's a little like Brock Bauer. So I don't know. We'll see. What do we got here? Michael's got. I got behind on the draft. I got the initial details some weeks or so back, but I've been a naughty boy and not done my homework to see the changes. Need to catch back up. You only got one more day because the draft is tomorrow at 8:00, round 1. You got rounds 1 tomorrow night. You got rounds 2 and 3 on Friday night, and you've got the rest of the draft on Saturday afternoon into early Saturday evening. And I know where I'll be spending my time this weekend. My wife is flying to Florida tomorrow with my mother-in-law, and I will be spending Thursday and Friday nights watching the draft. And we'll have it on in the background for Saturday. Might play some golf Saturday. Got to check the weather. But I think we might play some golf Saturday. We do have a tee time. So we'll see how that goes. What else? This whole Nico thing, again, Nico Imalama. He transfers to UCLA. His father, who got his brother, what the heck is his brother's name? I keep forgetting his brother's name. I don't think we're going to see it. Does it tell me in this story here? I mean, it appears that his brother will be joining him as a backup in UCLA. He's now committed to 2 schools. He committed to somewhere, and I don't remember where it was. Then his father decommitted him and committed him to Arkansas, where he never visited, never talked to anybody. And now without ever stepping foot on the campus, he's moved again. You think there's nothing wrong with college football, right? and off he goes to UCLA. And Joey Aguilar, who had a really pretty decent 2 years at Appalachian State, especially his freshman year, who had transferred to UCLA before all this started, is now going to be moving to Tennessee. So Josh Heupel has his quarterback. Two Imalamas are going to be in UCLA. Hey, Danny Fuller, where are you? You don't have just one, you got two. What is Nico's freaking brother's name? I'm trying to find it. I thought it would be in this story, but I'm not finding it. I mean, this is just a sordid story. I still don't know what he's getting yet either. I haven't found anything that really gives me much input into what he might be getting from UCLA. But as far as I understand, it's less than $2.2 million he would have gotten from Tennessee and tried to renegotiate his way away from. And Cam Ward. Cam Ward is a great story in this draft, by the way. He's going to go first to Tennessee. Bistrilla, who is on the national streaming sports show that precedes this. And again, I apologize. That's funny. We're still advertising shows that aren't even on the network anymore. I just saw our good friends Jim Jeffcoat and Byron Williams advertising come up for them. So my show's not live, but we're advertising two guys who aren't on anymore. I love both those two guys, by the way. Really good friends of this show, Jim Jeffcoat. I want to get Jim on again. I had Byron on here a couple of months ago. Byron's a great guy. I'm kidding when I would see this. I'm not really knocking either one of them. They're good friends of this show, and Jim Jeffcoat is he cracks me up. I text him every now and again. I got to check in to see how he's doing. Good evening, John Gonzalez from the Sports Authorities. As I mentioned earlier at the top, guys, check out the Sports Authorities. John Gonzalez is one of the best, the best admin out there. And I love that a lot of my followers have followed me to the Sports Authorities because there's great content there. You've got podcasts like mine. I know there's some others that John has share their shows. There's great contemporary content. There's some funny, very funny content. We have nostalgic content. That's the stuff I like. If you haven't noticed from my old school ways, I'm a very nostalgic guy. I miss the days. So anyway, John, we've been kind of talking about the draft a little bit, and Shedeur Sanders. Again, I do think there's both a smear campaign against him, plus he's not good enough to be drafted probably not in the first round. I do still say he'll go to Pittsburgh at 21. I know John believes he'll go to the Jets at 7. I don't think it's going to happen. And two things can be true, right? There can be a smear campaign trying to get him to drop, and it could be true. People believing what they say and just trying to cost the Sanders money. Or it could be teams trying to, lay in the weeds, get him to drop so they can move up later on and take him like the Giants. They could. I said this, John, when we were talking about teams feeding misinformation. I'm not saying the Giants did this, but let's just say the Giants were legitimately interested in Shedeur Sanders. And again, they brought in 2 quarterbacks, but that would not, I don't think, preclude them from taking a quarterback somewhere in this draft. If they like Shedeur Sanders that much, they can't take him at 3. They would get brutalized in the local media. The fan base would be all over them, especially the disaster that turned out to be Daniel Jones, who I think will do pretty well in Indianapolis, just saying. But they put out, a couple of press releases anonymously about how bad he interviews and how he blames teammates. He's a finger pointer. He's got a weak arm, which he does, by the way, because he's going to fall because he's not as talented as some other guys. He's not a first-round pick. He is maybe this year because there's nobody besides Cam Ward available. But if I'm the Giants and I put out this little campaign, I don't have to take him at 3. He keeps falling. He gets into the late 20s. I trade back into the first round and I take Shedeur Sanders. just conjecture. I'm not saying the Giants did this. I'm using them as an example because there's somebody who's drafting high. Could be the Browns, by the way. The Browns they're going to take Travis Hunter, I believe. But they could be trying to do everything they can to get Shadur Sanders to fall late first round, early second round. Now you're not risking a first round pick and first round pay and setting back your franchise years. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens there. Lots of smoke. There's smoke everywhere, right? I still say, and I stand by my comments, and we'll find out tomorrow night finally, because I'm really tired of talking about these guys. I'm really looking forward to talking about the draft itself and putting it to bed. Ugh, we got to talk about something, right? And it's the offseason in college football, so it's kind of quiet. I'll get your comments on a couple of things if you want, John. I also had talked about Nico going to UCLA, and now his brother's joining him after never having set foot on the Arkansas campus. Joey Aguilar going to Tennessee. It's not a trade, guys. I corrected a couple people who I have problems with them and their politics. So I don't comment on their political posts ever. But they kept saying, oh, yeah, now you can trade in college football. No, it's not a trade. It's just a coincidence that these two teams, quarterbacks, ended up signing with the other team. That's it. A happy coincidence, if you will. And does Josh Heupel get a pass now for this year if they get off to a mediocre start or have a mediocre season? They barely made it into the playoffs last year, and they got hammered. And by the way, the word has come out that Nico was trying to renegotiate his contract before the playoff game last year. He wanted more money because he said, well, that was for the regular season. We have opened up such a nasty can of worms. And a couple other things if you want to comment. I talked about Cam Ward. I never got to this, actually. Cam Ward, remember, was a 0-star prospect coming into college, coming out of high school into college. 0 stars. I can't remember. And again, there's probably no place to go look this up. Has anybody ever been close to being a 0-star recruit and being the number 1 pick in the draft? Not sure. I doubt it. Most likely to win the championship in the next 4 years, let's say. Sarkanian? Lane Kiffin, John Franklin, James Franklin, never happened. Riley Leonard or Marco Cristobal. A couple other things we can talk about. And Lee Corso, we talked about leaving game day after 40 years. I was 25 years old when he started. And the late Mike Patrick, rest in peace. It's just things we've been talking about to catch you guys up who are joining us late. Rick Hardick, good afternoon. Late afternoon, early evening. What is it? 7:30. It's nighttime, Keith. Hello, Rick. I wouldn't want any of the quarterbacks, and I guess Cam Ward has a shot. I wouldn't want any of the quarterbacks either, and I've talked about this a lot, Rick, and I got to spend some time tomorrow finding this article. I found an article 2 years ago about, I think it was 2 years ago, in The Athletic, that it went back to the common draft starting in 1967 that you should not take quarterbacks in the first round because since 1967, exactly 8% of the quarterbacks drafted in the first round have gone on to win a Super Bowl. And 2 of them didn't even do it with the teams they were drafted by. The percentages say don't do that. But teams have got to reach. Now I get the Peyton Mannings are going to get drafted in the first round. They're going to get drafted in the top of the draft. I get that. But teams too often reach. The Giants with Daniel Jones, Zach Wilson, Lance, and I'm just going back the last couple of years. Trey Lance, Mac Jones. I mean, I'm just in one draft for crying out loud. It doesn't work. It's not worth it for these teams to take these chances and set their franchises back years. But they continue to do it. The lauded 1983 draft that produced Elway and Marino. Only half of those 6 quarterbacks that were drafted in the first round actually made it. Todd Blackledge, Tony Eason. I love Tony Eason, who didn't turn out to be anything. And there's one other guy, Kenny O'Brien. I guess I can give a little bit of a pass to. But yeah, Rick, you don't waste a quarterback, especially in this draft. And neither one of these quarterbacks, Cam Ward has a shot. A shot. No better than a shot. He's no sure thing. He's not Peyton Manning, who, by the way, could have been Ryan Leaf. A flip of a coin is the only thing that kept the Colts from getting Ryan Leaf. And 2 franchises' histories being significantly altered. That's why you don't do it. Nothing is ever given in the NFL draft. Anything is possible, but it's 100%. I don't know who's going to trade up. Supposedly, there's not a lot of chatter about teams trading. Now, the Broncos have made some noise about moving up, but I don't think they can go up to get Giante. They want a running back. And if they stay where they may very well get Hampton, where they draft now. Why give up capital when you can probably sit and wait on him? And the Bears have talked about moving up from 10, and they may take Hampton. That would be the only reason that Sean Payton may try to move up. Giants don't have any wiggle room in the draft. Both the coach and the GM will be gone before Christmas. Well, this is a stupid thing anyway, by the way. You don't keep 2 guys who you've told have to produce this year, and we don't know what that number is. Giants brass ownership has always been pretty classy in my mind, at least after the Tisch and Mara feuds got over in the 70s, 80s, early 80s. John Barrow's a well-respected owner in this league, as was his dad, Wellington. But you don't keep a GM and a coach and say, well, I need to see some progress next year. But what is that? 5 wins, 9 wins, playoffs, a playoff victory. And they're in a tough spot. That's why they've signed 2 quarterbacks that they're praying can get them some wins. I don't see this team winning 5 or 6 games. They should take Carter. That's who's going to be there. They should be taking the best player. And there is no wiggle room. Now, I do expect the Giants to take a quarterback at some point in this draft. My guess is you're going to see a Will Howard. You're going to see a Kyle McCord. You're going to see a Riley Leonard if it's late enough. You're going to see a guy get drafted on this team to see if they can catch lightning in a bottle. But it's not for this year. No quarterback they're going to pick is going to help them this year. They tried desperately to move up to get Cam Ward and could not do it, just like they tried last year to move up to get Drake May. This is the most NFL talk you'll get on this show, guys. The night before the draft. The college football huddle is all NFL draft tonight. And Lee Corso and Mike Patrick. Any nice comments you want to put up again about them, please do. My boy Michael in the UK. Historically, players have gone to court for the right to enter the draft early. Now they're suing for the right to stay in college longer. Oh, my God, you're so right. Thank you, Michael. That's actually very funny. What's my views on NIL and football? It sucks. Listen, I'm all for players getting a stipend, right? They shouldn't be there and be indentured servants. Yes, they're getting an education, right? Worth $250,000 or whatever price you want to put on it, depending on what, and probably more than that now, depending on what university we're talking about. But we shouldn't go back to the days where programs are put on probation for giving a kid a ticket to fly home to his grandmother's funeral or buy him a pizza or whatever. But do they need to be making millions of dollars? And here's one thing, too. At least stop calling it NIL. Rick, you guys who have been with me from the beginning, remember when I argued long before before we had the show, we did, Are You Serious, with the Mad New Yorker. Well, the Mad New Yorker argued me that this was all advertising. This was all marketing, a marketing initiative to help promote the players and then give them a little bit of spending money. It was pay for play then. It's pay for play now. Just call it what it is. Pay for play. It always was. It always will be. Now, the only good thing, Michael, this was going on for years. Much less money. Sometimes it was a car. Sometimes it was a house. But under the table. So now at least it's all above the table. And some will make an argument that it's evened out. You haven't seen the last 2 years, really, the Alabamas and the Georgias dominating college football. There's more parity, at least at the top. I'm not telling you Appalachian State or Liberty is going to go win a national championship anytime in the next decade or century. But it's made for more parity among the power conference teams, for sure. Because Alabama and Georgia could live for years because of their immensely strong recruiting classes. You could live for 5, 6, 7, 8 years on a couple of good recruiting classes. I can't do that anymore because you're recruiting new every year. These kids leave. They go somewhere else for more money, more opportunity. So my problem with the NIL, it's not just the NIL, Michael. It's the NIL combined with the portal and the unlimited movement. You're virtually a free agent, not virtually. You're literally a free agent every year. That combination is lethal. Professional sports don't let you do that. They couldn't survive. And because of such things, the money is creeping up to where we were talking about a couple hundreds of thousands of dollars here not long ago. Now we're talking about millions and tens of millions of dollars. And the kid you can give it to him, and the kid can up and leave. Bad situation. Yes, John. This draft is one of the weakest in memories. Good thing only 7 rounds, not like the past when we had. Well, yeah, it's been a long time. You're dating yourself, John. It's been a long time, so we had 17 rounds. So yes, this would be awful. I have said that I find the first round. I think the first couple of rounds, and I will be glued to my TV tomorrow night, because while I don't find this, I'm not doing any shows tomorrow night. I don't think. I'm going to enjoy the draft in my living room and absorb it all. John's absolutely right. It's one of the weakest drafts in memory. There are 2 generational players in this draft. Travis Hunter and Carter from Penn State. There'll be other good players. Cam Ward could be a good player. But as far as out of the gate, must-have players, there's very few. Now, what I will say, John, again, I've said this a bunch of times, there's a lot of intrigue because of team need, running backs being a little bit deeper than normal, not a lot, but a little bit. Interesting guys like Scatabo, we'll see where he goes on the second day, most likely in the second day. The Shedeur Sanders story has some intrigue. I think all the quarterbacks have some intrigue. Where Jackson Dart goes. I know, John, you think he's going at 9 to New Orleans. I can't see it. I can't see it. Especially since he was not invited to be there draft day. The NFL knows something. I'm not saying guys have not been drafted in the first round that weren't there before. It's obviously it has. But I find a lot of intrigue in this draft. And as a Patriot fan, We're going to get a boring offensive tackle pick, but that's what they need. They're forced to, unless somebody does something stupid at 1, 2, or 3, and I don't see that happening. They're going to end up with Campbell or Membo. Membo has been moving up the draft board, so it's going to be one of the two tackles. John, I did a mock draft, and then mock draft I took Ty Warren first, and I made some trades so I can get Will Johnson. I traded back into the first round. I traded a bunch of picks 2 years from now so I could get two picks in the first round, 2 picks in the second round, and I think I traded my 5th and 6th rounders this year. I wanted to get some early drafts. I wanted to be able to get Will Johnson and Ty Warren and still get a wide receiver, which I think I ended up with Isaiah Bond, and some decent offensive linemen. So that's where the Patriots are going. So I see some intrigue. Again, as a Patriot fan, any fan of a team should have some intrigue, at least in this draft. Well, it's not mind-blowing names like we've had in some years. Last year was full of really good players, obviously. This year will be much, much different, but no less intrigue in my mind. Gil Brandt was a master of the draft. He was miles ahead of any other GM. He would find you. He found Hollywood Henderson. That's a great point. They were using computers and all kinds of data input, data output long before anybody even knew computers existed in the NFL. Gil Brandt was brilliant. Brandt and Tech Schramm brought the 21st century almost to the Cowboys in the 20th century. And it worked very well. They found a lot of guys, if you remember. They were drafting guys like Hollywood Henderson. They had some easy picks here and there. Tony Dorsett, they fall into in 77. But how about guys that, undrafted free agents? Drew Pearson was a quarterback at Tulsa, if I'm not mistaken, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, John. Or any other Cowboy fans out there. I know you're not a Cowboy fan, John. Those are the gems. Right? Fun. It's going to be fun. It's always fun. Rick, these old school ESPN guys were amazing and made sports great. Lee Corso and Game Day. Because of Corso and Kurt Herb Street, Kirk's only been there the last 35 years, I think. First few years, it was Craig James, former Patriot and SMU running back. But Corso and Herb Street made the show for years. And I'm still shocked. I was 25 years old. I'm 65 years old. I'm 25. Lee Corso was only 43 years old when he started that show. 22 years younger than I am today. Mike Patrick was really a good, underrated play-by-play guy, right? We knew all about the big names at CBS and ABC. And Mike Patrick called ESPN's first big NFL games when they got Sunday Night Football in the early 80s. And before that, and even after that, he did a lot of college basketball out of the ACC, a lot of college football in the SEC. Just working class announcers, these guys. Corso became a celebrity. Mike Patrick, though, was a lunch pail kind of guy. Today, everybody's flash and whatever, yelling, screaming. I got to listen to Gus Johnson, and I got to listen to, who's the other guy that screams and yells all the time? It'll come to me. He's getting on in years now, though. Just scream. You don't need to scream every time there's a first down, every time there's a 4-yard gain. Look, I can watch the game. I'm watching it on TV. Mike Patrick, professional. Pat Summerall. These guys let the game come to them. Sometimes you just don't talk. Thank you, Rick. Great thoughts. No. I am telling you that I did in a mock draft. I did myself last night. So there's sites you can go to and do your own mock draft, right? And you can also make mock trades. And I don't remember all the details, but I said, I'm going to roll the dice. I took Ty Warren at 4, and then I traded to get back into the first round and took Will Johnson at like 15. And I got, I traded a couple picks from later in this draft. I traded a couple picks from 4th and 5th round next year, and then a 2nd and 3rd rounder the year after. And I was able to get Membo. No, I didn't get Membo. I didn't get Membo or Campbell. I was able to get Johnson, Warren. Bond ended up being a wide receiver I took 2 of the kind of middling, if you will, second tier offensive tackles off the board in the 3rd and 4th round. So I ended up with 2 first rounders, 2 second rounders, and 2 third rounders with all the trades that I made. So I did pretty well. I wanted your guy Johnson, but I'm not taking him at 4. So the only way I get him is to trade back into the first round. What I did would never happen in real life, by the way. They're not going to trade that many draft picks that I did. I got a few back. Scott Kobe. Good to see you tonight, my friend. Why is everybody yelling? And maybe I'm yelling and screaming about the yelling screamers. I don't know. If I am yelling and screaming, I apologize. But Gus Johnson, who's the other freaking guy? I'm trying to think of his name. Oh, man. He's been doing play-by-play for years. There's a couple of them now, actually. It's atrocious. Listen with the sound off. Up here in Boston, fellow Patriot fan Scott Kobe, who has his ear to the ground in Boston. I wish you were in Foxborough. Up here in Boston, there's rumors swirling around if Hunter and Carter are gone, which they have to be. I've heard this. I have heard this trade, or I've heard this rumor today as well. The problem is if the Patriots trade down to 10, I'm not believing either, by the way, because the Patriots, again, you don't want to be drafting 4th every year, and you're not. I don't think they can get Campbell, and I don't think they can get Membo. I don't think they get either one of them, or one of them, at 10. Now they could go down there if they're willing and take John Gonzalez's guy, Will Johnson, at 10. Who else would you have available then? You could. Problem is, that's it. To me, if you're going to do that, to me, you're locking yourself probably into the cornerback. Maybe one of the wide receivers, but I'm not buying it. I know the Bears are desperate to get in front of the Raiders for Giante. There's talk that the Broncos are as well. So they may be able to drive up the price and get enough draft picks. If I can get enough picks in this draft, Scott, if I can go down to 10 and get another second rounder, Bears give me their second rounder, and I'm going to have 2 of the top, 10 picks in the second round? Maybe, plus a little more. I want more. If your Bears are desperate for that running back, do you know how good the Bears will be if they get Giante this year? But if I'm the Bears, I can also sit there at 10 and take Hampton if I want to, who I think is as good as Giante, and maybe he's going to be more durable. He's bigger. He's explosive. I know they were talking a little bit about his first step after pursuit and stuff. I think the guy can play. Scott says the feeling is at 10 they go Banks. They go Banks to Carlton Davis signing took them out of the corner market. I still think they might want another corner though. And they do have Gonzalez if he's healthy. But one thing I will tell you in the in the annals of college or professional football. On defense, you can't have too many defensive linemen and you can't have too many cornerbacks. So I kind of agree with you on the Johnson deal. And Banks would be a good pick. Ty Warner would be a good pick at 10 if he's still there too, by the way. Because he addresses that receiver and tight end situation in my mind. I think he'll be gone. I think the Jets take Ty Warren at 7. I disagree with John Gonzalez there a little bit too. Johnson is 100%. Johnson's the next best corner after Hunter. The question is going to be, at least from the Patriots standpoint, and I see him going at 15. What was he? 13, 14, 15 is where I've seen Johnson mostly, John. Again, anything can happen, as you said before. Scott's right that, you know, with their signing of Davis, although Davis has had some injury issues, you can't have too many cornerbacks. I mean, there's a possibility they do that. I want a haul for it, though. If I'm trading that 4th pick, even though I'm only going back to 10, you're giving me your 2nd round pick, and I want some more after that. They'd be very good. But the Bears could sit tight at 10 most likely and get Hampton if they really want a running back and don't want to trade capital. I guess is because I think, you know, maybe he's not as good as Giante. He's not that far behind. Ben Johnson wants to replicate the Lions offense or as close to it as possible. His offense will be better than the Lions with Giante and another wide receiver. In my mind, I see Goff taking a step back. I like Williams a lot. I think Williams played really well last year, and he took a lot of heat. Threw some bad interceptions here and there, but he played a lot better over the last part of the season. Wasn't protected at all. They did a pretty good job of fortifying that offensive line. And you look at his numbers, and again, numbers aren't everything. But they're not. They match up with Jaden Daniels pretty well. I think the Bears are this close. Hey, Ted, I keep thinking, Warren. Yeah, that's what I said. I like Loveland too. But if I'm at 10, the more I think about it, Scott, but I'm not sure he's going to be there because I think the Jets could take him at 7. And again, I don't know if John agrees with me. John has been locked in on Shedeur Sanders at 7 for the Patriot or the Jets. But if Ty Warren is there at 10, I want him. The guy to watch out for if they don't get, just to say they stay at 4, they take Campbell, whatever. The guy to watch out for 2nd round and maybe, I guess I got to get feel for how long he'll stick around. I like Arroyo out of Miami a lot as well. I think he's the 2nd best tight end myself. Maybe I got a little, home bias there. Bill Pulver. NFL payroll, $11 billion. NIL spending, $1 billion. Well, the big difference in here is one is professionals and one aren't. Well, one are. 2 are. And stop. Here's the thing. I'm going to insist everybody on my show stop saying NIL. It is pay for play. PFP. NIL. Carlos was wrong 4 years ago, and he's wrong today. Not just about that either. Still no show on Roku. I'm interested to see if Robert Butler comes on here at 8. That's why I got the Roku channel on. I want to see if Robert Butler comes on. I don't know if I've got a bad key or what, but the Bears are who we thought they were. All right, Rick. Anybody can get this. Is an easy question, right? We'll leave it out there. Thumbs up prize for whoever can get this. Somebody won the thumbs up prize for my Sunday question. What was my Sunday question? Jahdae Barron has impressed tremendously. I think he goes before Johnson. I still think Johnson's the second best one there. Barron's good. Barron will go in the first round. I think you're going to see a few guys go in the first round. Among the cornerbacks. Let me just take a look at some of the cornerbacks. Oops. How the hell? Oh, I got halfbacks in there. How the hell do I get both? Oh, take them up. Oh, I see. They changed my search apparatus. Hunter, Barron, actually, PFF does have him ranked ahead of Johnson now. I still like Johnson ahead of Barron. All three of those guys are, without a doubt, first rounders. I think Trey Amos out of Ole Miss goes in the first round. And I think you're going to get a guy like Morrison or Hairston go in the first round as well. So not the greatest first round. Again, we just talked about the talent in this draft is not as great as we've seen in some in the past. Cornerbacks, we've seen as many as 5 or 6 go in the first round. I think you're going to get 4 here, maybe 5. But I think the second and third round will be full of cornerbacks. McMillan has dropped like a rock. A lot of questions about him, about the offense in college. Let's see where PFF is ranking him right now. Gosh, they got him. They have dropped him all the way to. No, I can't be right. Hold on. I got to be seeing something wrong. Well, actually, they've only dropped him to 4. But mostly because of length and athleticism. They talk about his football intelligence, but some of the things that I hear are he didn't interview terribly well, and they worry about him getting off the ball in the NFL. It's a lot different in college. Patriots at one point had been linked to him at that 4th pick. They still think he's going in the top 10. I think it's possible. Listen, there's some good receivers in this draft, and you could see a bunch of them. I think you could see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them go in the first round. If I'm the Patriots, I'm looking at guys like Kyle Williams out of Washington State that I can get maybe in a 3rd round. I like Trey Harris out of Ole Miss, another 3rd round possibility. Restrepo out of Miami, I like, and he's a Patriot and Josh McDaniel kind of guy. 4th round, they're probably late 3rd round pick, but he's been dropping lately too. I mean, he ran like a Keith Engle 40, I think, at his pro day. So it'll be interesting. Walker could be around I suppose Walker could be around at 10. I don't think Walker's going to last that long, though. Let me see what my latest is with. Let's see. Where's my latest mock draft here? I got a spot that I like to look at mock drafts, and I'm not finding it. Why not? Here's the ESPN's latest, and you can get a few guys here. This is Matt Miller. He's got Ward, Hunter, Carter, no surprises there. Campbell, Giante to the Jaguars, interestingly enough, at 5. Kelvin Banks to the Raiders, if that happens. Jalen Walker to the Jets. I think they go Ty Warren. Walter Nolan, Mikhail Williams, Colston, Loveland, who Scott brought up earlier. I like Warren. If I can't get Warren, I'll take my chances on maybe getting Arroyo in the 3rd round. Mason Graham, McMillan, they've got Cowboys at 12. I got Memboa at 13, so maybe I can make that trade. If he was going to go to 13, I could go to 10 and get Memboa. They got Tyler Warren going all the way down to the Colts, 15. Any other shockers here? Jade Barron all the way down to 19. And they also have Shedeur Sanders right where I have him at 21. So kind of interesting. Mason Taylor's been drawing interest. Yes. Didn't I just see him somewhere? Where did they have him? I lost him. I had him somewhere. Thought I saw him at the end of the first round. How about this, John? And this is Matt Miller from ESPN. Will Johnson at 23 to the Packers. Interesting. Trey Amos, cornerback to the Bills. Interesting stuff going on here. It's going to be, I find this first round very intriguing. Does the Green Bay Packers take a wide receiver after over 20 years of not taking one in the first round? That's shocking, right? With the offenses they've had, the quarterbacks that they have, they've not taken a wide receiver in 20 years. And they don't have, this draft doesn't have them taking one either. They got to take a Will Johnson, a cornerback. Does Jordan Love become Aaron Rodgers 2.0? Let's see what else I can find out about Green Bay here. Let's see. I get you. Let's see. Sports Hill. Todd McShay's picks. I just wanted Green Bay, actually. That's all I wanted. Packers interested in trading for Steelers George Pickens, interestingly enough. They're interested in McMillan if he falls that far. You know, that offense would get dangerous if they could trade for Pickens, and Pickens puts his head into playing football. And were to pick, say, McMillan, it falls all the way to 23. That'd be an interesting offense. What? Just looking for the timestamp. Sorry, Michael. Who will be the future NFL draft prospects 2025? I can think of one being Texas's Arch Manning. Listen, there's no guarantee Arch comes out. Arch is a unique individual. Arch sat for a couple of years behind Cam Ewers when other guys would have transferred somewhere they could play. He likes it at Texas. He's going to be getting oodles of NIL money. Now, the riches in the NFL, so there are limits to what you can make on a rookie quarterback. But pushing yourself back, is that really going to be beneficial? To your career? I mean, I think you come out when the iron's hot. Similar to Cooper Flagg with Duke. I didn't think there was any question he'd come out. And second of all, I would expect Arch Manning to be one of the top picks. We have no idea yet whether Arch Manning will even be a good college quarterback. We don't know yet. I expect he will be, but we really don't know. Some other guys to take a look from the quarterback side of this coming out next year. You can look at Arch Manning, of course, Nico. Drew Allar is going to be a guy that people are going to be talking about. Lenore Sellers, who played some pretty good football this past year. Nussmeier, who decided to stay another year at LSU. Klubnik will be coming out. So from a quarterback perspective, you've got kind of those guys to look at. And Cam Rising, I think, is playing his 9th year of football. Maybe he'll actually start doing something. Running back, you've got Justin Haynes, Maliki Hughes. Not crazy about any of these running backs coming out next year. Jeremiah Love is a guy to keep an eye on out of Notre Dame. How about wide receivers? We'll look at. If you want other positions, we'll take a look. I'm just looking at some of the bigger names. Carnell Tate will be out next year. Branch out of SC. It'll be interesting. Next year's draft, I think, will be much better than this one. Anything can happen. Guys fall, guys rise. We don't know. If I'm Patriots, I may trade my whole draft to get A.J. Brown. Just kidding. No, I will. I'll make a trade. Well, that's a great point. I wouldn't trade this 4th pick for A.J. Brown. Would you, Scott? How old's A.J. Brown? I mean, I think A.J. Brown still got some football in it, but I've seen A.J. Brown disappear in some big games, by the way. He's 27 years old. Okay, not a lot of miles. Man, if they want to move him, I'll trade him a 2nd-round draft pick. They can get it done. And again, he's kind of is he a guy that I want Drake May working with now? I'm not so sure. Yeah, we already brought Diggs in here. We got one big head in that locker room already. Diggs plays well his first year in places, though, too. He played really well early in his career in Minnesota, wore out his welcome, got to Buffalo, played really well, went to Houston, played well there. Yeah, we already look at that. Michael's asking me twice. If Arch Manning lives up even close to the hype, he's going to be the #1 pick in the draft. You're going to have theoretically a better quarterback class next year because Alar, I think, can play in this league. Let me look at some of the other deep guys. Like as far as how deep you can go, crap. Oh, no, here we go. Let me go back to the quarterbacks for next year. We don't know that these guys will all come out, right? We have no idea. Come on. Switch back. I ain't got all day. What's this look like? How come I lost? Now I lost what I was doing. Quarterbacks. Well, we'll have to wait on this. I mean, if they come out, and Alar are going to have to come out, I believe. Manning and Alar should be the top 2 picks. Nico, listen, I think you saw what you need to see. Nico, from a leadership standpoint, is going to have to go a long ways to convince people that they want him leading his team after this nonsense that they pulled here. Lenoris Sellers will be a prospect that people will look at. He's big kid, 6'3", 243 pounds. Not playing at the top levels of college sports or college football. Nussberger is going to be intriguing. Klubnik will be intriguing. John Mateer, another guy. We don't think about John Mateer a lot. He's a guy I like a lot. Sean Levitt had a great year at Arizona State last year. Carson Beck, we don't know. Will Carson Beck play his way back into the first round? Haynes King, Jackson Arnold, not guys that I'm in love with. Trying to see if we got a sleeper in this draft pick. Malachi Nelson's a guy to keep an eye on out of Florida. I would expect a couple of these guys to make a move up this draft board, if you will, and then have a decision to make. I'm trying to look if there's somebody really deep. I'm already down into the 30s. Tyler Van Dyke, 29. No, seen him play. Not going to happen. Peter Shager is releasing a mock draft tomorrow. Look at his mock tomorrow with a close eye, as he's been on the phone with executives of every team and he knows his stuff. Will do. Thank you for that, Scott. It'll be on ESPN. Very good. I've looked at his mock drafts up till now. Giante's plus 750 on Sunday to go 5. And 2 short days later, he was minus 130. Interesting. To go 5? That means somebody's going to trade up behind the Patriots. Here's the thing, and I thought this earlier when I thought I'd seen the Bears traded up to 5. If somebody trades up to 5, the Bears, the Broncos, Patriots could be sitting in a pretty good position to trade with the Raiders, to jump back in front of that team, or the Broncos to jump in front of the Bears, or the Bears if the Broncos had already moved up. You could see some jockeying for position here tomorrow for sure. But either trade going to happen or the Jaguars take him. Yeah, but the Jaguars need to protect their quarterback too. They have no idea. And again, John Gonzalez gave me this. He straightened me out on this, where I thought Trevor Lawrence had really not been as bad as I thought he was. And he showed me. I think it was you, John, who had me compare Trevher Lawrence's 5 years with Daniel Jones, and the similarities were striking. Other than one big playoff comeback win. But Daniel Jones has a playoff win too. Yeah. Did he pass, Steve, or are we getting to that point? It's been a very sad situation for Steve. He did die at 67. He's been suffering with ALS for quite some time. It's an insidious disease, ALS, taken obviously Lou Gehrig, who had basically this disease named after him, but it's taken a lot of football players, baseball players, Catfish Hunter, although he didn't die of ALS per se, but he pretty much lost the use of his arms and fell and hit his head. I believe he's only 51 when he died. But many professional football players have had ALS issues, and head trauma has been tied to it. Kevin Turner for the Patriots, if you remember, Scott passed away from this awful disease. Steve Gleason, great special teamer with the Saints, still battling. But again, this is a losing battle when you get this. So our thoughts and prayers go out to Steve McMichael's family and friends for sure. Great player on those great teams. No, there's only a handful of players I would trade for, and Brown is not one of them. Yeah, me either. I would if you make it worth my while. For a second-round draft pick, I would trade for Brown. Rumor has the Jets sending Breece Hall to the Cowboys for a third-round pick next year. That would seem awful cheap for Breece Hall. I know he's had some injury issues. I know last year didn't meet up with his rookie year 2 years ago, or 3 years ago now. But I like Breece Hall healthy. You think a third-round pick is feels like a steal for Breece Hall. But again, we're talking about running backs, right? And they don't have the value, the perception. Again, don't forget. Geez, I did this just a couple weeks ago, right? I did the same thing a couple of weeks ago. I totally blanked on the Steeler running back who signed with San Diego for $5 million for 1 year. The kid from Alabama. What the hell is his name? God, I hate that. I know why I'm retiring. Adam Schefter believes Jackson Dart will either go to the Browns, Giants, or Saints. Where, Michael? It's got to be in the second round because neither. Well, I shouldn't say that. John Gonzalez, at least Sunday, and maybe he's changed since then, felt that Dart would go at 9 to the Saints. He's not going to the Giants at 3, that's for sure. And he's not going to the Browns at 2. Now, that doesn't mean these teams don't trade back up into the late first round and get him. I've seen him tied to the Rams in the 20s, too, wherever they are, as well. And I like Jackson Dart. The problem with Jackson Dart is people worry about the offense that he played in at Mississippi. He would be a guy that is a project because he played in a very simplified offense at Mississippi. He's got the size. He's got the arm. I think he can make the throws. I would rank Jackson Dart ahead of Shedeur Sanders, quite frankly. Listen, I have no axe to grind with Shedeur or Deion Sanders or anybody. I think Shedeur Sanders will fall in this draft for one reason. He's not a tremendous NFL quarterback prospect. He's accurate. He doesn't have a strong arm. He doesn't have a great pocket presence. Can't really run, which, again, in today's game, they want to see guys that can run a little bit. Cam Ward doesn't run a lot either, but Cam Ward's more like, you're going to see Cam Ward be similar to Patrick Mahomes in the way that he runs. I'm not comparing him to before anybody sends me letters. I'm not comparing him to Patrick Mahomes, except in the sneaky escapability he might have. You remember Kevin Turner? Kevin Turner was a nice player and sad. I watched there's a documentary. You can probably find it on YouTube or someplace. Scott, Najee Harris. Thank you, Rick. God, I got a block with Najee Harris now. But anyway, go back to Kevin Turner for just a second. Great. There's a documentary. I have no idea what the name of it is. You just put in Kevin Turner documentary. You can probably find it on YouTube or someplace. Scott, it was really, really well done, and it's quite a while ago now, but it was interesting. There's one on Steve Gleason as well. Thank you, Rick. Dart reminds a lot of scouts of Bo Nix. And I totally misread Bo Nix. I did not think Bo Nix would be what he, again, sometimes these guys take a step back. Bo Nix looks like he's going to be a star in his league. But Bo Nix is still not a guarantee. I would say Dart's probably a good example or a good comparison to Bo Nix. I like Dart's game. I like it better than I like Bo Nix coming out of college. And I think somebody will be a winner with Dart. Again, they can't expect him to play right away. Bo Nix, apparently, he took his team to the playoffs. Had some struggles here and there, which you would expect out of a rookie. Jackson Dart is not going to be ready to play in year one or maybe even year two. So you've got to be set at quarterback for a couple of years. The Giants would be okay. I mean, they've signed a couple of quarterbacks, stopgap quarterbacks. And if the Giants could get him in the second round, I think it would be very smart. I don't know if they can wait that long. I don't think he goes as high as you think, John. I do think he's going to go to the Rams in what are they, 24 maybe? Interesting stuff, though. A lot of good stuff. Sorry, I just kicked the cat. You okay? The cat has a habit of sleeping under my chair, right where I move my feet around, and I kick her in the head all the time. You want to come up and say hi? No, I'm not going to show you my cat. Oh, God. Good stuff, though. I mean, John, John, you've been a guy who's been pretty high on Shedeur, right? You had the Jets taking him at 7. Do you think, again, because I've said I don't think there's a smear campaign. I think there is. Actually, I take that back. I think two things are true. I don't think he's going to fall necessarily just because of a smear campaign that some people seem to have against Sanders. Maybe not Shedeur himself, maybe Shedeur, but the Sanders clan, okay? And I think he'll fall because he's just not that talented. Now, both things can be true. As I said, O.J. Simpson killed 2 people, and I'm certain of that, but I'm also positive the LA cops framed him as well. So they framed a guilty person. Brilliant move. Will go down in history as one of the smartest things they ever did. anybody's ever done. But I think two things are true. And I want to know, would you think that there's been a smear campaign against him or not? And again, with these quarterbacks, we could all be wrong, because if they land in the perfect situation, then all of a sudden they're really good. Can they maintain it, though? And I got to see what this next comment is, because I think it may be what I'm talking about. Colin Kaepernick is a really good example of a quarterback who looked like he was going to be a superstar. But if you weren't watching closely, Jim Harbaugh, and I said this forever, this is one of the reasons I say Jim Harbaugh is a great coach. Very polarizing figure. But he didn't just take the 49ers to the playoffs. He took them to the brink of the championship, losing the Super Bowl with Colin Kaepernick, I'll say his name right, as his quarterback. What happened after that? He played in a tricked-up offense. They found a way to hide his weaknesses. I'm not saying that's Bo Nix. Please, I'm just not saying that. I am saying there are cases where quarterbacks have been, flash in the pans, played really well early, and then fell apart for different reasons. Kaepernick is a good example, because I think they tricked up the offense and took advantage of, the pistol, and people didn't know how to defend it. And it hit his accuracy issues, arm strength issues. Another guy that comes to mind, and for different reasons, was RG3. Was tremendous in his rookie season. Now, Mike Shanahan will have to take partial credit for that, potentially, for basically playing until he couldn't get up off the ground anymore in a playoff game. A lot of strange things happen. But then he never could come back. Was it the injuries, or was he just a flash in the pan? I don't know. I'm trying to think of a few other examples. I know there's a few. Jesus, how many guys did we see very short flash in the pans and get huge contracts? Flynn, the backup quarterback for Green Bay, off a game or two at the end of the season, playing against nobodies. Seattle signs him to a huge contract, and he flames out. Sure, there's other examples. And again, I'm not saying that's Bo Nix. I'm just saying I need to see quarterbacks play. I'm not sure about Drake May yet, quite frankly. Drake May's season wasn't that different than Bo Nix's, I don't think. I know we're talking a lot of NFL when we should be talking about the draft, but I guess it's still draft related, right? I want to see what Bo Nix's numbers were last year. 3,700 yards, 29 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. All right, they're significantly better than Drake May's, so I'm off there. Drake May didn't play 17 games, so. Although he did play the majority of the season. Played a lot better than I thought he'd play. Ryan Leaf, Michael, he was a bomb from the beginning. He never even I can't even call him a flash in the pan, because I'm talking about guys who might have played well and then flamed out. He flamed out from the very beginning. But again, he's a great example of how if you miss on first-round quarterbacks, you miss and set your franchise back years in some cases. And you have to hit. And there are more Ryan Leafs been picked in the first round than there have been Peyton Manning's picked in the first round since 1967. That's my argument about staying away from these players early in this draft. Yeah, I'm not seeing Robert on. So the only one who seems to be able to get on is Sonia. Let's see if Tip's on tomorrow morning. I'll try to fix my feed for Roku going forward. Been a good show tonight, guys. I didn't know what we'd get. again, we're running out of show, so I want to thank all you guys. You contributed greatly. Scott, John, Rick, Michael, Rick Hardick. Who else is stuck in here on me? Anybody else I can call out? I know we had a couple guys earlier I didn't call out, but thank you for participating. We'll have the draft tomorrow. We'll talk about it on Friday morning. We'll have sound off. Friday morning, we'll do a sound off show. You can come in, talk about the NFL draft. We'll give you free reign. We hope to have Jim Beringer on. Jim hasn't replied to my text. Maybe he has now. I don't know. Nope, not yet. So anyway, Friday we'll do the we'll do our sound off with the last Friday of the month. We're going to try to get some interviews back up and fresh interviews. I know we've been replaying some encores and get some fresh interviews up here soon, probably in the middle of May. We'll have the MLB update, of course, on Friday afternoon and a Sunday stream of consciousness on Sunday morning. And I will, this show will keep on going. We're going to go through the draft here, obviously. We'll get into May, and then we'll make a decision on a hiatus for, 6 weeks or 2 months, whatever, as we have done in the past. So we hope you guys will enjoy that time off away from us going forward. But I appreciate you guys participating tonight. We'll see you Friday morning with the Sound Off Show. John Gonzalez, I expect you to come on camera and defend the Jets not taking, or at least rip the Jets for not taking Shadur Sanders at number 7, or Jackson Dart going to the Saints. Rick, you get a chance? Come on. Rick Hardick, come on the show. I'll put the link in Scott Colby. Come on the show Friday morning. I want you to come in and give me some opinion. Depending on how many guys line up, we'll give you some time to chat. Depending on whether Jim Barrier is with us, we'll get you time to come in with Jim Barrier and talk some NHL hockey as well. Join us Friday morning for the Sound Off Show, one-on-one with Keith Engle. We'll have a great time. See you guys later. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now, with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
You're listening to Keith Engle, the host of TGI Sports Talk on the National Streaming Sports Roku channel.